All right, it's been a long wait, but guys, that welcome for chef flying in all the way from Delhi. We can do better. Pune can do better. Come on, let's give it up for Chef Riyaaz Amlani, everyone, and my very dear friend SA, who's consulting marquee restaurants like Bastion, Mas, Burma, Fu. In Pune, we have Oi, Eco, Kora, Suki, Daily. Every sought out restaurant out there, he's the man behind the kitchen. He's the man behind the whole planning and design of all these great kitchens. So let's give it up once again for SA and Chef Riyaaz Amlani, guys. Right, Chef. Excited to be doing this. Let's get straight into it. When you enter a kitchen for the first time, how is it? What do you look at? How does it feel? Do you look at, is it chaotic? Do you look at, it being a process, flow? What's your feeling when you get into a kitchen for the first time?
Is this a short format question or a long?
You can take all the time. We've been waiting a while, and I know that you've been waiting to share your experiences, but we have the night, and I'm sure people are going to be here.
No, I mean to say that, I used to work on the ships, and the first thing when, the inspectors come in, because we are governed by the US Port Authorities and Public Health, which is very, to pass that you need 97, below 97 you fail. So it's a very old saying that shining steel and the smell of bleach.
Oh.
That's the first thing is that, the kitchen is clean, it's well lit, it's stainless steel, so it's got to be good. And then you added a point that, it's the temperature. But I think you find out the true glory of a kitchen, not when the lights are off, when the light is on, and when it's full steam ahead, when all the ranges are working. Everything is in top gear. That's when you find out. But definitely, I think when I see a kitchen, a seamless layout, shining steel, well lit, well ventilated, I think that's the most important part, which tells you that yes, it's efficient, it's safe to work in this kitchen, and at the same time, it's hygienic.
Great. SA, what are your thoughts? First time, you go into a kitchen after you design it. So what are your thoughts on, designing it for the first time and then going into it? And I'm sure you looked at so many kitchens in your 20 years of experience.
So I want my kitchen to be a seamless sounder where there are no joints, there is sink which is in, you have refrigeration which is tucked in. So a very, very essential for kitchen staff to maintain well. Now you need to make a kitchen that robust and even more work friendly to keep your staff also motivated. And what makes me wow in the kitchen that you walk in the kitchen, it's all nicely stainless steel out of cloth, seamless counters, your knives are being placed correctly, your hot side pans are being placed perfectly. You don't see dustbin in the kitchen. That's what the wow kitchen sounds like.
Right, so both of you made a very interesting point. Comfort in the kitchen and temperatures, and I'm sure there are a lot of restaurateurs, Pune, Bombay, some people from Bombay here, a lot of restaurateurs who've come all the way. So, temperature inside a kitchen, like you mentioned, chef, is very, very important for the chefs and the cooks inside to be comfortable, to be working in a good, environment. And India being largely a hot country, we have kitchens also which are hot. We do Indian cuisine and Asian and Chinese, and all of those are very, heat demanding. And people from definitely Bombay, Pune, Delhi, of course it gets cooler in Delhi in the winter, but how important is temperature inside the kitchen? And how does it translate onto the food on the plate? What are your thoughts?
I think temperature definitely maintains the well-being of a person who's working in there, because at the end of the day, you have high temperatures, low ventilation, or no ventilation, it's going to affect the person who's cooking. B is going to affect all your equipment. Because when your ambient temperature is high, you are opening and closing your fridges. So definitely there is an impact on your equipment. There is condensation. There is, because of the heat, your HVAC is pulling more. So literally you go to see, and I'm just going a little off track, that I used to heat inductions about 20 years ago when I first started working with induction, when I was abroad. But then when you come to see, it's that you only use it when you need it, which means that the ambient temperature of the kitchen is at least about 5 to 6 degrees lower, which means that your HVAC is being used more. It's used less, which means that your power consumption over there is much less, which means at the end of the month you do save money on electricity.
Right.
And secondly, even when it comes to when you have a very hot kitchen, you open a fridge. Your fridge is supposed to be 5 degrees and below. When you're looking at a refrigerator, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Your fridges start collapsing. So ultimately, it's a knock-on effect. And then it comes to the well-being of the chef and all the people who work in the kitchen. Because if he has to worry about how hot it is, this morale, motivation, mood. Because at the end of the day, if you're in a really foul mood, I definitely recommend you not to cook. Because ultimately, whatever you say, your energy is definitely being transferred into the food.
ऐसे what are your thoughts? You go, आप तो kitchen design करते हो पहले, and there are restaurateurs who are out there, and they're in the front of house area, but back of the house we know how good, bad, ugly it can get. What are your thoughts, and how do you sort of try to explain the restaurateurs how important kitchen temperatures are? Because ultimately there are human beings working inside the kitchen as well, and they have to be comfortable. You can't put them in a hot box and ask them to cook. So what are your thoughts on this?
So again, coming from the building side, in a kitchen there are various departments, right? There are, starting from a receiving, you have a receiving can, you have a veg process which needs to be controlled at 20 to 22 degrees. Then you have a garment section, which again has to be controlled between 20 to 22 degrees. Go to a chocolate section, it has to be controlled in 16 degrees. So there are various departments in a kitchen. When you say kitchens, there are various departments which need to control. Ability for hazard, because that's where in the food processing you take right at that temperature. And when it comes to the hot pitch, when you say oil cook, this is where we technically say it should be between 28 to 30 degrees should be the working atmosphere around. Now, considering most of the restaurant, I've been building restaurants since the last 20 years. What I feel is that people do evade the part of ventilation, because they say there's a running cost to it, there's so much to it. So there's just no normal fresh air. Now fresh air in an ambient temperature, we are touching 42 degrees. Climate changes. So now again coming to a makeshift PV, then better cooler, just to make the engine more cooler. That's what things goes around in building. But yes, there are serious restaurateurs who want to keep that kitchen to be a temperature where they can get good staff. Now you won't get a good staff in your kitchen unless you have a better place working temperature around the kitchen. So it's very, very important to maintain the right temperature.
Continuing with you, SA, we were talking just before about in India, you said 42 degrees ambient temperatures outside. And only in India, there's this concept of dust. And with dust comes hygiene issues. We've all traveled, across, and we see this concept of dust mostly only in India. That's what I can say from my experience. from a design perspective, from a consulting perspective, how do you design kitchens which could be dust proof, which could be kitchens for India, because we are in India and we have to deal with dust, we don't have a choice or an option. What are your thoughts on the whole thing with dust and hygiene, and any tips that you can share on how we can sort of, get away from it? I mean, we can't get away from it, but how can we stop it from entering the kitchen?
So I'll put it that way. We are growing economy, and you see an American coming in India. The first thing he says, "Oh man, India is growing." And my question, how will you gauge it? You see trains all across here, going high rises, high towers. So growing India means there's a lot of construction going on. Growing India means there's a lot of begging on the floor which is going on. So yes, that's our daily hustle. How do we counter to this? Is that, see, the kitchen has to be a closed atmosphere. It can't be open to one air. In kitchens, there are things when chef say, "Yeah, बहुत गर्म हो रहा है, let's open the door." Hold the door without any having a sense that there is a negative pressure in the kitchen. You're going to put your air inside the kitchen, and then infestation, then your hygienic sanitation, everything goes for a toss. So what happens is that you need to have a controlled atmosphere around the kitchen. Have a fresh air which is got a 10 micron, which allows you to get that fresh air, cleanliness, and no bacteria promiscuity in that. So it should be a closed kitchen. It can't have a window from out where you're putting a fresh air and having a draft of fresh air and enjoying it. It doesn't happen that way.
Interesting point about, open. We were discussing before the panel, and we know restaurants were, really big, good restaurants which are cooking, keeping windows open and doors open and letting the fresh air come in. So yeah, important point. Chef, what are your thoughts with the pollution in Delhi? You have a restaurant in Delhi called Omni and Speak Burgers, and you spend half your time in Delhi and half of it in Bombay. How different is it, Delhi and Bombay? And you must be dealing with a lot of pollution and dust in Delhi.
Please don't compare Delhi and Mumbai or Delhi and Maharashtra. I think we should take this topic offline. I can go on and on about it. I think, as he rightfully said, that you can't have, I've worked in a kitchen which is near, I'd gone to do a pop-up, which was not very far from the Qutub Minar. And literally they had kept, there was a charcoal oven, and the two windows behind it, one side of the kitchen, was actually open.
Oh.
And so sometimes you had a pigeon flying in. I was working on a cutting board, and suddenly I see this, the you know what I'm talking about. It was like I was getting a new design on my plates every time. So I think definitely a screen, if you want to have an open kitchen or you want some fresh air to come in, and when it's in a clean environment, you have a wire mesh, you have a strong exhaust where, things are not coming. And I think prevention of dust in the kitchen, you don't know where it comes from, but as we say, you clean as you go. So I think in all my kitchens, wherever I consult or I'm the chef, we have a clean as you go policy that eventually people are dusting, ek haath lala rahe upar around their counters. We have to keep on things that, we have an open kitchen in the restaurant, which is a full charcoal kitchen, which, definitely because of the doors opening and closing, there's a drift, there's the outside air, you get dust coming in, and then you actually see how, I couldn't even realize that it really happens. But when I used to see the tables near the door of the restaurant, they're all getting a film of dust. That's when so I think periodically wiping it down, better construction, no direct flow onto the food prep area. I guess that's what we're going to do.
One of the other things that comes with keeping doors open and windows open is also this issue with safety. And Saili mentioned when she was introducing that she's experienced some safety issues inside the kitchen, and I'm sure that safety in India, like it or not, is compromised. We are not a population that really gives a lot of importance to safety. I mean, Pune is a prime example. City where two-wheelers, highest number of two-wheelers, and people didn't want to wear helmets at all, and even for their own safety. So, how do you make the kitchen safer? Because ultimately the humans inside the kitchen are all Indian. They are also going to have the Indian mindset and the mentality. How do you get them to practice certain level of safety? How do you get them to work in a safe environment? And as a chef, you don't want people, you don't want loss of property, damage, somebody getting burnt and chopping their fingers off and things like that. So how do you inculcate a culture of safety?
So I think before the kitchen being safe, the people who work in a restaurant or say, let's say a kitchen, let's look at the kitchen, they have to be clad. They have to be well clad. What do you mean by well clad? They have to be wearing safety shoes. Yeah, they have to wear a full apron, and preferably if I know about the weather, but as long as most of the 3/4 of their arms are covered in the kitchen, and they are wearing a full apron, and they are wearing safety shoes, and they've got no this sadhana hairstyle where it's coming in the eyes or anything. So I think first of all you have to be prepared in a safe manner in order to be. It's like when you go on to play cricket, you wear a ball guard, you wear your pads and everything. So all your kitchen staff has to be clad well before they go to work. Secondly, I think is training. Okay, before the guy even if a small equipment or a bigger equipment comes into the kitchen, he or she needs to be actually told about how to operate it, how to dismantle it, what not to do with it. That's the reason why electrical equipment, other equipment, and the areas around it should be kept dry, so there is no short circuit or electrocution or
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So I think training is very important. Also, the way the kitchen is constructed, you would not have something which is breakable in your kitchen. Like you will never have like a glass shelf to keep your plates and pots and pans. So I think safety issues, skid-proof flooring or mats which help in non-skidding of the proper construction, earthing. So I think it's a lot to do with training, construction, as well as fire safety, having the right kind of fire extinguisher in your kitchen, exit,
Yeah.
a whole exit plan, fire training, drills, periodic drills, do a surprise, a mock drill sometimes.
Audit. Yeah.
Do an audit, periodical checking of all equipment, wiring, so there's no jugaad. Suddenly you'll see 3 wires in there. Oh, chef, मालूम वो plug कहाँ गया था, but I have to do my work. So I think basically it's creating a culture, talking to them, and telling them the demerits of it. I think it's an ongoing thing. The generation is changing. You have a lot of educated
Chefs. Yeah.
chefs who are coming in there. So it is becoming a little less tedious, if that's the right word. But I think it, in terms of safety, because also the pressure of the perils and the hazards and what's happened to businesses. So even I think restaurant owners have become a little more vigilant on that.
Right. Good point. And chef mentioned construction of the kitchen. That brings me to what are your thoughts, Essay, on how do you design, because you're planning the kitchen. I'm sure the restaurateurs or the investors would come to you and say that, okay, this is the space we need to, design, and you're then designing the kitchen with whatever space is left or assigned to the kitchen. So how do you, in that tight space is a currency in, places like Bombay especially. So how do you ensure and make sure that the kitchen is well designed but also safe? Because if you can cut corners if you don't have space, so how do you ensure that when you are designing?
We have all seen the episode what has happened in Mamlangas, the buyer is broke up in Mamlangas, we ostracized there. As moreover, the owner had also a permission after that. Every individual who's coming into any food chain of restaurant chain or hotel chain, it becomes mandatory now because their name is also on the board. I mean, they can't run away. Yeah, I was not there. This is happened. He's the first guy you get. Then comes the others. So when it comes to building, we try to make it more down to be very simple like this. Two of our companies who are present out here, Pune Gas, which plays a very vital role in designing the gas piping system, which has got a beautiful system what we try to push out and say this is the system what you really care. It safeguards you. Now you say an LPG is, I always call it like a green bomb. And in case of LPG, the moment you have a solution which is safe, moreover you're saving money day in, day out. That's where safety things comes in. Then you have one more guy from Swastik. You have a fire separation, kitchen fire separation, which is again very important. Now our board and judiciary and not very mandatory, but you see big infrastructure like a DLF or a Phoenix or say any of these big chains, they are very mandatory. Now for what have they made mandatory? You need to understand. Because they don't want to put lives in the line. So considering any venture, we should all adhere to the lives what are working in our kitchen. So these two aspects, if you design it well, and then there is many other things. You have fire pancakes, you have extinguisher, you have K-type extinguisher, and then again I tried to mention my chef because he is so humiliated. We have been there, we have left the place. So trading mocktails, sudden surprises. You see, in Marabag HS13 there was a fire on a fryer. The thermostat didn't work well, and oil is for fire, and people don't know why you now. So, and there was no some isolation. I mean, we are talking. So, we patient blind not using. So, a handy cylinder next to them, a K-type extinguisher, which can extinguish your fire instantly, is what all these small things plays a vital role. And training again, we need to emphasize a mountain, as rightly mentioned, is very, very important. Not you mountain. People are well trained, and that's how we can all these things.
Also, so just to add is what other things besides fire safety is cleaning agents are determined. Cleaning agents and which I used to clean like soaps and also things like these and grease cutters. So how because I mean we come from a culture where when I was a cook on the ship, we had to clean our own grills, we had to scrub the floors and everything. So all the separation of all your cleaning materials should also be kept away from the food prep area so that there is no cross-contamination. A lot of them are highly inflammable. So, they need to be so thorough knowledge of even how to deal with your cleaning materials and other chemicals. Besides safety, they can cross-contamination. You can even kill somebody.
Yeah. Interesting perspectives, from safety point of view. I mean, a lot of people don't even know how fire suppression works. You mentioned about operating manuals. A lot of people don't read the operating manuals. from a design perspective, essay, Vicky, from a chef perspective, and I want you to answer this question from a restaurateur perspective, like Vicky the chef and Vicky the restaurateur. When you go into a new project, a new restaurant, a new concept, the restaurateur is the one who sort of is the first guy who's putting the money on the line, ensuring the operations and setting that venture up. What do you think about first? I'm sure you don't think about the kitchen first. You might be thinking about the product and the cuisine and all of those things. But a restaurateur would say, okay, this is a space, I want to do it here. And then comes the chefs, then comes the design, then comes the planning, then comes everything. So how important is it for Vicky the restaurateur, and how much importance Vicky the restaurateur gives a kitchen?
When first thing I ask, if I'm Vicky the chef and you're Vicky, you're the restaurant, the first thing I ask him, how much money have you got for the project?
Right.
Now, if you don't have, with all due respect, if you say that if I'm going to put a crore in this, so take your working capital and marketing route, whatever you left, and if you only have that much,
Yeah.
You will get what you get. So automatically, everybody can't afford an astronomical fee for a kitchen. I feel that it's not about the quantity of things and quality. I think it's choosing the right equipment and the right configuration and layout of your kitchen, which could make $1 million.
Right.
I could get the best guy in place, okay, so at the end of the day, the maths have to work.
Correct.
So I am going to react as Vicky the restaurateur. If the maths don't work for me, I'm going to act as Vicky as the chef, depending how much Vicky the restaurant has for the dish. So I think at the end of the day, it takes two hands to clap, and that's the way I have, and I think that's a big turning point in my life. That I'm not looking for a 7-star kitchen. If the product is meant something else,
Right.
I think your match, what you chose has to be the right fit for it, whether it costs you a lakh or it costs you a crore.
And this is now, you're slowly drifting towards Vicky the chef, because it doesn't matter how much it costs. A chef needs what a chef needs to cook great food, right? So
No, the chef still needs what he needs. But for example, if he hasn't got the money to consult essay, then we look for a smaller version of it. And we don't have to go in for a Chosco grill from Spain, which costs 14.5 lakh rupees. We could go in for a small sigiri and an oven and play around with that.
Right. Great. From design and consulting point of view, you get a space, इतना ही जगह है, इतना ही मिलेगा, इसमें जो करना है करो.
I think he'll walk away.
No,
I don't think he can walk away.
You don't have an option. So, when we come on drawing board or CSI visibility, see, it has to work. Even when it has to work for the owner, it has to work as a jointly for the chef to run the kitchen. If both these amalgate well, I'm sure the organization or the restaurant here will do well. Now, how to put it, like we are a middleman or a owner and a chef to make them understand how this can go right. If there is a saying, let's eat free, you would say, no, I can't go Asian here. It's not going to happen. This is the space for you now. As Kaiti said, this is the space now, let's do it. I remember a legend this year going, this remember in Mandalay, it was Blockbuster. The kitchen height was about 8.5, and this is the space for you. Now you have to do a kitchen. That's it answer in like a sounding play. So yeah, he did a fantastic job there. I'll tell you, the inside of it when we meet around next, or we have an around here. So things has to work out. Now how to work out? Being a mechanical engineer myself, I can think little differently from a chef background. Now chefs will think this is what I want, this is my lady, this is my cooker, this is my home hour, these are my appliances. Now how to put the appliances to a right efficient manner where the chef doesn't have to move too much. And and again the Mumbai space and stick, you are standing at the position, finisher is at that position. That's where the all the other magic come into play. We have got a kitchen which are probably 300 square feet also. And the things are going really good out there.
Right. So ergonomics is a big thing, and which brings me to my next point. From a 300 square feet kitchen that you spoke about that you've made, uh, chef right here is worked in around maybe more than 30,000 square feet kitchen in the cruise liner
And 300 square.
and 300 square feet, but 300, 300 to 30,000. And you mentioning about, so for all of you who don't know Vicky, Chef Vicky's traveled around the world. He's been on high performance, highly engineered kitchens for cruise lines on huge cruises, where I've been on a cruise and the food is flowing 24/7. There are multiples of kitchens on the cruise, there are multiples of restaurants, and there is no limit to the food flowing. It's like it's more than a party. It's, you just have to keep eating on a cruise. So kitchens in on a cruise on a ship, and then kitchens in Bombay. Um, what are your thoughts of whether it's 300 square feet or 30,000 square feet? A kitchen has to be high performing. It has to have, a level of high performance, and then you can really make it profitable. It can become, a income generating machine, so to say. Of course, you have your restaurant, your service, your marketing, all of those things. But inside of a kitchen and how a kitchen is performing is a completely different story. So, some thought on this entire journey that you had from your days in catering college, and then on the cruises, and now in the restaurant. What do you think makes a high performance kitchen?
I think, first of all, when you say high performance, it means that you have to define your high performance. Once you know what your high performance is and it is meant to be, and the output of your performance in terms of number of meals or tonnage or time versus output, once you have that, you have to start rewinding back from there and pick and choose the kind of equipment that you lay out. For example, I'm not getting into the entire thing. I worked in every section of the kitchen, and I was talking to somebody where we had this 85-year-old rotisserie.
Yeah.
It was like a bhatti, almost like a crank, where, for example, it had a capacity where in those 6 carousels and roasting pans, I could cook 600 turkeys.
Wow.
In one round.
Wow.
Okay? In that round, and it's beautifully slow roasted, everything. It would take me 5.5 hours to cook that turkey. Okay?
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours. Cut to a rational or a combo therm, or in these are the two which I've mostly worked with, where you have a program so that even if someone who doesn't know how to cook, if it is, अरे वो जरा program 4 दबा दे तो, press 4, precisely the turkey is cooked. Now that turkey has, I'm cooking about 350 turkeys in one go. Yeah. Here in one oven, which is taking 1/10 of the
Time.
area. No, area.
Oh,
Space.
okay.
Because
Space.
it's just a standalone
Yeah.
15 tray rational or combo. I've got a program. There's no skill required. I've got slow roast, turbo roast, whatever. In 1.5 hours,
Wow.
I'm cooking 50 turkeys or whatever. Which means that in that 5 hours time, I could almost come up to that looking at my calculation.
Correct.
For example, if I have to do 800 liters of 3 kinds of soup, which means I'm doing 2400 liters of soup in a day, I know that I need 2 boilers for my consomme. I need 3 big boilers for my cream soup and 2 for my clear soup, because I know cream soup is more than that. So it all actually boils down to understanding the output, and that's the reason why when ships know that, oh, we carry 2,800 guests, we've got 1,500 crew with us, which means got 4,300, multiply them at least 5 times people eat in the ship.
Right. Yeah.
टी खाएंगे, crew खाता है, रात को midnight snack होता है.
Correct.
So literally when you are getting your total output of that, we have to do 48,000 meals every day, and if we have 6 restaurants to cater doing this much, so literally I've got 6 pressure cooked bread pans which have a capacity of 220 liters by Kolmukta. I'll have 5 or 6 ovens which is there. Then I'll have some holding, because uske baad 6 घंटे के बाद that meat is going to be served, which means I'm going to need a hot holding or a sham.
Correct.
Or something like that. Food needs to be transported from one side to the other. What am I going to need? I'm going to need an Aldo sham which can be plugged in,
Yeah.
which is on
Mobile.
MTB casters for me to go from one side of the ship to the other. I'm going to need, if I need to plate in the matter of 10 minutes, 600 plates go out. The order could be prepared. So what am I going? I'm going to need jack stacks to put my things up, those going into. So I think it's all about planning. You can go as large as life, or you can go as small as a little cloud kitchen or a small place making sandwiches. The idea is to understand what would be your maximum capacity multiplied by 2 as often as that is, and then you plan your facility.
Correct.
You know, everything. Do you need that many fridges? Do you need that oven? How many cooks do you? So it is a science.
Right.
And that comes through,
Right.
burning the.
Right. The midnight
That's what
candle.
it is.
Yeah. And to continue on that point, ultimately, chef says planning is so important, and that's where people like you, SA, come into the picture. Plan. You must be dealing with a lot of restaurants who might be having pain points. You plan on something and you set it up, and at that time there's no budget, there's no space, or for whatever reason there's a decision that we can't do this, we can't invest in this, or it gets missed out. And when there is a plan, there's something that okay you need to do, but sometimes those things don't happen at the start. After 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, the restaurant usually starts doing well, and things start moving in the right direction. And then what happens is that the restaurant thinks, "Arey yaar, wo pehle kar liya hota to acha hota," right? So there are those regrets that come later, and it happens with us a lot of times. We tell the customers, this is the LPG system you need, and this is what you will need at peak load. But the restaurant would say, "नहीं, mera itna nahi chalega, abhi to start kar rahe, peak load kitchen nahi hoga, average hoga," and then we put a small something, and then like it's after 6 months to a year it goes next level, and they're like, "Arey yaar, pehle hi kar dena chahiye tha." How do you kind of then negotiate this, and in the planning, I really, like to tell, our customers that plan for the future and plan that your kitchen will run at peak. How do you plan in these situations when there are times when you don't know, confidence is not there at certain times, and when you don't know कि ये कैसा होगा and what will be the peak, and you start off with something, and after that you have to incorporate it. How easy or difficult is it?
It is very easy because you can't do that. You can do to certain extent. So first you need to understand what type of venue, what type of offering you're going to do, what type of process you're going to say for the dish to come out. So you have a number of check box which you need to understand just prior to designing the images. Going forward to your answer, if later the client wants to add something, later means that means he's already doing well now.
Yeah.
He wants to add something, he's doing well. He doesn't mind to get it, step in at that point of time and let's do. Let's do means there are number of changes which we have to involve. It doesn't happen. I have set it up. Now, suppose the kitchen is not equipped with the combi oven, which is a budget constraint. So I deliver you. I'm starting by going up to 29. So what happens is like is I have to remove some equipment, making sure that that particular equipment like a combi oven, it can give me more output, efficiency, better consistency. I'm up for it. So that change, even the owner steps in and says, yes, let's do that for a better world of the device.
Great. That brings me to my second last question. Both of you mentioned about combi ovens. Both of you mentioned about new age technologies. Both of you have been in the industry for a long period of time. You've seen kitchens evolve. You've seen kitchens evolve 20 years ago, now, and they're evolving as we speak. And how do you think the kitchens of the future are going to look like? Aise, we'll start with you. What's your opinion? What's your thought on the evolution with technology and the evolution into how kitchens are changing and what they will look like in the future?
A lot of AI powered efficiency you will see in your future. Now people do say, how can AI help me in my life? Starting from we have been to this exhibition, and I saw all these refrigeration which were planned, like 10 of these refrigeration planned well. There is a software, and you have an AI data sensors which are plugged in this refrigeration. It actually monitors what is your temperature and what is the graph of the product, what is the source. Now in a manual condition, we all say 5 degree to dikh raha hai. But if you understand the right point of the fresh, you never get it 5 degree. And it's a reputed made, it's a machine made in a factory region. Our cars is made, if you make a factory line, I mean every process has been checked. So there are AI, right? Now you see even ovens, you see the process of store inventory. Now store inventory also has become smart. AI is telling your process, your inventory is getting over, the pilferage of your food product is getting reduced.
Oh.
What needs to be ordered, you are all very well if you try very AI. Yes. People are stupid with it. There are more to come and lot many to have people AI. And the futurist kitchen I see, I mean the steps will be there. There are many years of this AI.
We are not going to see AI cooking food and robots cooking.
There is emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
That comes from chef and whoever is the mind.
Chef, your thoughts?
I just may lose my job tomorrow. Sorry, what is the question?
Kitchens of the future, evolution from the past into the future, and as I said, chefs are here to stay. AI and robots are not taking over cooking of food. So you're not losing your job, chef.
I mean, they can only take a process of it.
Yeah. See, I
They
think
don't have manual intervention of a person going there and checking all the thermal usage.
Yeah. I think he's quite. I mean, I'm almost on the same page as him. I just feel that because of the scarcity of skill, a lot of wherever the skill can be replaced with some kind of automation or AI or mechanization, we will definitely do the trick. We kind of do it in, people now, before AI, now let's look at outsourcing. Okay. Now, outsourcing was the first stage where you are not actually doing things yourself.
Right.
Either it's a make or a buy decision.
Correct.
That's as the whole evolution of somebody else doing things for you came in. That's where it must have started. Then the processing machines came. Oh, I don't need to fucking slice onions. I have an onion slicer. I have a RoboCoop. You have right from, like, I'll give you an example called talking about Pune. Okay, when we are talking, I'm sorry, I'm just revising.
Sure, yeah.
Big nostalgia.
Yeah.
So my Jiju, who passed away many years ago, used to have a small shop in Bhawanipet. Okay, right next to the family which makes the Lakshmi Narayan Chivda wala.
Right.
Okay, where in the good old days, whenever chivdas were made, the coconut had to be cut by hand, and the nuts have to be chill out and all. Now in those days, my Juju started making these small machines which would make a difference. So he made him a mechanical tumbler for mixing the chivdas. I'm going back about 35, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So the mechanization of processes is happening right at home. Right from your mortar and pestle has gone.
Yeah.
Which is now you get a mortar and pestle which with a machine attached to the arm.
Yeah.
So in terms of things that I still feel that the labor intensive devices and things which increase productivity relevant to what your business or your food product is, I think that is going to increase because as you know the skill set is going down, a lot of people are migrating abroad. So I think menial jobs will be taken over by machines, processes like, you have robotics and all. But when I look at a kitchen of the future, I look at something which is very sleek. It is kind of fully automatic, completely induction with heat and light sensors. So the moment the chef puts its arm around, even the kitchen, the light above the range can come.
Motion sensing.
Motion sensing of even your HVAC and everything. Voice activated cooking systems.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I feel, and I think maybe artificial lighting and dramatic, where the recipes are coming on screens for chef, processes are being illustrated on them, the entire wall, though you have photographs and TVs, maybe you have a whole picture in front of you so that when the cook is preparing it, maybe it matches it, maybe it has a sensor to map whether this dish has been plated as per to the standard. So that, it could go anywhere.
It's very, very futuristic,
I don't know.
Right. So for all of you who don't know, Chef Vicky's wife is also from Pune. So Chef Vicky is actually Pune's.
That's why I don't
Kamai Daman. But Lakshmi Narayan Chivda and Bhawanipet, that's a big thing.
I have to tell you, I'm very proud to say that when the Garden Vada Pav, his first cart used to be outside Tulsidas building, which is still there.
Yes.
I used to go from that time.
Wow.
And even till today, whenever my aunt comes from Pune, she always brings me.
Now they have a nice shop.
They have 9 shops and it's different.
Yeah.
Very different, yeah. But I go back to the original Dorabji and company and
Absolutely. So you have many memories with the city. And last question to you, chef.
and my first date was Mazoram sandwich.
Mazurin sandwiches. Yes.
That's why, and actually Praful is here. Where's Praful?
Yeah, he's in the audience.
Actually, I'll blame it on Praful only. I hooked up with my wife in your restaurant, if you remember. When Banaka spiced 6 tables, ultimately the most coolest, cutting edge, original Asian restaurant of this time is Praful the champion.
So we all love Malaka spice. I've grown up eating it, and Praful sir's wife's chef Chiru, she was lovely, amazing with the flavors, and they've traveled lots to Asia and collected all that. Chef, since you're so fond of the city, something that you could give back to the restaurateurs of Pune, learnings from your experiences, your real world kitchens. And if, let's say, hypothetically, someone out here is opening a new restaurant in the next couple of months, what's that one piece of advice, that golden nugget that you can give them?
Please brainwash all the millionaires of Pune that it's really okay to pay $1,000 for a main course. I mean, that's one thing which I say, that why can't things be priced higher in the city? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a huge bank of talent. Okay, the food is original here. I think Pune people are very loyalist. You know, they rise from their own soil.
Yeah.
They've struggled. They are very innovative, and I think they know how to run businesses. And I think the profits are better in Pune. I can just feel it.
Great.
And essay listens to Pune, man. I love you guys.
Woo! Big round of applause. Essay, final thoughts from you. Same question. You've done one of, some of the most iconic restaurants in Pune, from Kura to Daily to Suki to Murphy's to Bastion, Foo, Oi, all of these iconic brands. That golden piece of advice from you, and you're doing a lot of new restaurants in Pune as well. So something from you for the restaurateurs of Pune who are, in process of starting something up really, really soon. What would you say to them?
First of all, I give big thumbs up to Pune. I mean, everybody tries to come in Pune, and it's tough to crack Pune. Huh? It's not an easy game.
No, it's not.
Until you see your premiere. That's the first bit I have learned of what I have been learning from it was. Now, when you come as a newcomer, when you want to plan a restaurant, you need to understand what product you want to offer. You have solver like Manana Spice right in front of you. Last 24 years, and I know tall and sturdy. I mean, 29, sorry, must be correction. You need to understand what type of product do you want to offer to your clients. Okay. Now, when you see a restaurant, there's a pyramid. In a pyramid, you need to understand which client's log you need to serve, or which client follows your pattern tolerance. Now, if you understand that, do your reverse calculation. First, get your product right. Don't just get into opening a restaurant and you don't know what to do now. And then that's all starts fading out. 6 महीने फिर से पैसा रोकने का है, नहीं किया, इसको उतार देने का, इसको स्वादाओ. This is all starts. It's the panic situation. You need to understand what is your product. Do you R&D in your product? Can get investment done, right? It's an investment. Then get into further action, do proof action. Then hire me, I hire you.
No, one more thing I want to add, very, very important, besides all the, I think the food of Maharashtra needs a lot more exposure. Just like how my dream is now to do a Sindhi restaurant, which is going to happen. I think I'm done cooking Western food. I'm only focusing on the food, the reimagination of Sindh I'm very proud. And like Sindhi food, the food from Maharashtra, it means even the interiors, the coastal, the hills, the plains, everything. I think it needs to travel a lot more. And I think only you guys can do it because believe me, that's one cuisine which is amazing.
Yes.
And people outside the state don't know it. So guys, get the shoes on and travel with your food and take it out there, guys.
100% agree. With that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, NRAI.
Thank you.
Big round of applause for.
Can I take them?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, we have question answer, chef.
Oh, is it?
Some
Oh,
questions.
really?
Some questions.
Okay.
Last.
Anyone who wants to ask questions, I can pass the mic.
If you're feeling shy, it's okay. You can drop us.
Yeah, why?
No
Have the front.
problem.
Hello, my teacher.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
So we are the Maharashtra State Young from Pune. Pune. So my question is, how to handle manpower turnover? Like,
Learn to cook yourself.
Right.
Hands.
That's our answer.
Okay? Manpower means you have to have the power of the man also. वही है boss. I'll tell you. I lose people every week.
Restaurateurs highest attrition in restaurants, so you have to learn how to cook yourself.
My name is Udit. So I have a small dot. We have a small kitchen space, 600 square feet. There are 7 burners, 2 tandoors, and ceiling height is low, like you mentioned. So we have ducts in place. But no matter how much we tell the chefs on the kitchen team or the cleaning every day, we clean it twice a week. We do keep cleaning. Everything happens. But you clean what you still way to keep it. A lot of that you can't see what goes inside service. When they open it,
It's a regular maintenance.
Regular maintenance.
It's a regular maintenance.
It's like cleaning your chimney.
Words inside that.
Yeah, that's why your sales are saying the numbers. I mean, if you get it dirty, congratulations, you're putting more food out there.
We take one more question, one last question. Right there.
Congratulations, you're more food out there.
We can take one more question, one last question.
There at the back.
Right there.
Hi, this is Spurge from Astus. We are into audio video specifically. This question is little away from what you have discussed today. So how do you keep food as well as the music ambience together? What is more important for a restaurant to have it?
It depends on the restaurant. It depends on you. You want people to hear the music and eat your food as well. Because remember, they can listen to music anywhere, they can eat anywhere else. But if you want to get both of them in the same roof, a good sound system, a good music, a good DJ, and a very good chef. That's all you need.
I think there are sound engineers, there are now fragrance engineers also.
Yeah, fragrance also.
Yeah. Last question, yeah.
Hi Vicky, this is Ravish here. Ravish
Oh, I was looking for you, boss.
That's okay. You mentioned that Pune guys don't spend money. I agree on that. We need support of guys like when are you opening your restaurant in Pune?
When I have a pricing strategy first.
Are you looking for somebody to invest in your restaurant?
But I would love to work with you anytime, boss.
No, not me, Proful.
Listen, Praful is hiring me as his farm to table cook.
Okay.
So you will find me February onwards in his farm. February. January thoda काम है मुझे.
I'm joining you.
On a serious note, one question. Tell me the difference in the skill sets when we used to work about 30 years back with the chefs and the chefs of today. What is that one X thing which is different in today's chefs compared to the chefs which were earlier?
I'll kind of piggyback onto that group, okay? Because I feel the realism and the basic training what we got is bulletproof. You know, we had to learn how to make a stock first before we ever dreamt of making a sauce. You know, here chefs, they know how to make a foam, but they don't know how to make a sauce. You know, they all want to do fusion, but I keep on telling people that if you want to fuse A and B, you have to master A and master B, और फिर ही आपका तौहीन होती है to you have the permission to do fuse that food. So I just feel that the basics which we learned without any Google, AI, Chat GPT, and the social media made us who we are right before these things came. All this is just an accelerator. We didn't have accelerators. We had to perform and cook and be there in order to go where we are. It's a different scenario now. A person who graduates from college now, in a year year and a half, he wants to be a sous chef. After that, he wants to take over the restaurant. But even I'm not trying to put them down, but I'm alag the, sir. We were a chip of the block.
Great answer. Any more questions?
No, I think we will take all other questions offline. But before we close, I would like the guests to please stay at the on the stage. Thank you all for your time for a practical session with Pune NRAI chapter. Can we please have a round of applause for all the panelists today? Thank you, Chef, for your selfless insights and for so much points for all of us to take away.
Thank you.
Before you all leave, I would love to give you a small token of appreciation on behalf of NRAI Pune chapter. If I can ask Professor, who's also the NRAI National Mentor, to please hand over a token of Pune appreciation. Guys, it's a goodie bag filled with Pune stuff for all of them to take away, please.
एक बैग है अच्छा दोनों
Thank you.
चिवड़ा है क्या चिवड़ा चिवड़ा है क्या चिवड़ा
So this is
Sir, there is one more for
I'm from
Jason as
Pune only.
well.
I'm from Pune.
you get the small bag
Thanks.
Thank you.
So this has been an amazing session, primarily because when we open new restaurants, the area that gets ignored frequently is the kitchen. So you will have a 5,000 square foot restaurant and you will have a 200 square foot kitchen, right? So that's how they distribute the space to the most important part of our existence as restaurants. It's not the ambience, it's not the tables and chairs. It's definitely the people, but the people in the kitchen as well as in the front of the house. So I hope all of us in the future, I know there are a whole bunch of young restaurateurs here, some really bright and many very ambitious. I hope you learn from my friend Chef Riyaaz Amlani, who has been India's light. When you go abroad, he's known, when you're in India, he's known, he's a down-to-earth guy. Please approach him, give him a break sometimes, get him a drink.
I don't drink I stopped
Yeah, no alcohol for Vicky. But definitely very happy to see him in Pune, and I hope, thank you so much, Stanley, Ajinkya, for putting this together. You guys are doing a great job.
thank you
So before we leave, can we please have the Pune chapter committee and subcommittee members for a photo with the panelists? Thank you. The bar will now be open in the next 5 minutes and we will have food and drinks rolling out for everyone. Thank you.